Hey everybody, Bigfoot here with Bigfoot videos. So I'm testing today to see if I can use my wireless mic in live mode while I'm posting. I was thinking about doing some behind the scenes type videos where I'm actually filming myself live while filming myself from my GoPro. And so I've plugged my wireless camera in and I've got it on my iPhone stand and it's like half engaged with my MagSafe. So I'm just going to kind of keep this thing close to the center of the room upstairs here in case the phone gets away and it doesn't fall down the sides down into the first story. So I'm hoping that this audio is coming through. If it's not, we'll see. This is the first time I'm doing it with the wireless mic. And so we'll go from there. But what I'm doing today is, it won't be a super long video unless I get to talking, but I'm going to be in the near-ish future, hopefully before the summer, well before the summer, I'm going to be putting in radiant barrier up in between all of these raptors. I was looking at the Reflex. I think it's called Reflectix. I can buy from Lowe's. It's a radiant barrier with air bubbles built into it. So it's got like an aluminum siding on both sides of this air bubble, like packing material. And one of the applications that they allow for retrofitting after a construction is after something's been constructed, so you can retrofit it into your design. And it acts as, you can put a thermal break in it. So you can put it in cathedral style ceilings and insulate it and everything. And so one of the methods they allow for and have tested for is you can actually, in the southern zone, you can put it in directly over on the underside of this roof decking. And it doesn't matter if the nails from your tar paper or underlayment poke in it. So you could push it directly on, or I'm going to do it a slightly different version of what they say, just because I have these two buses to actually leave an air gap in between the decking and the radiant barrier for air movement, air travel. And then I'm going to put a thermal break, which is what it actually calls for, in between the insulation and then the other side, the inner side of the radiant barrier. So I'll have a 1-inch gap on the underside of the decking between the radiant barrier with its air bubbles, and then a thermal break / air channel in between this side of the radiant barrier, in between it and the insulation. And then I'll probably come in with some sheathing, some OSB, some 3/8 or something like that, or 7/16 possibly, and then probably sheetrock over that, potentially a foam board before I go in with sheetrock, just for additional sound barrier. But I'll probably use that radiant barrier Reflectix material, and then I'll either go in with fiberglass or a rock wool, because it's a better sound barrier and it's water resistant, flame retardant, things of that nature. A little bit more expensive, a little bit easier to work with, better for your health. These are 24, supposed to be 24-inch on center, and they essentially are. They're a little bit less than 24-inch on center. Looks like they're 23-inch on center on that one. I'm getting some pretty interesting. I don't know if these are bots or what, but the Jacob OIE Z3L is saying, "Hi, buddy. Start panting like a dog," which I won't be doing. Sorry, but yeah. So, but I appreciate the comment nonetheless. But yeah, so that one was 23.5 inch on center. This one's 24-inch. So there's probably a little bit of variation in between these as they work my contractors, as they work their way up. It probably just, that board could be a little bit bowed or something. So when I buy my Reflectix, I'll need to make sure to buy the one that comes either at least 48 inches wide or 24 inches. And if I do the 48-inch, it's a little cheaper, and I can just chop the roll in half before I start unrolling it. And I'll actually staple it. I'll actually, there's actually an edge on it if you buy the 24-inch on center ones on each side, where you can use for stapling to the inside of this wrapper here. And so I'll do that with the air gap on both sides, and then I'll come in with the insulation, and I should be able to just put it in there and it should stay, because they make those slightly sized down, but to where you can actually push them in there. And I'll cut them to where in this turn right here, I'll actually miter the edges so that they'll match up and there won't be any dead air spaces. And I'll get full thermal insulation value on that. But I should be able to get to at least 20 with that system, 20 R value in the attic with an air gap that ultimately escapes up to the ridge vent. You can kind of see it back here. I've got a ridge vent that runs down the center of this roof cap. And then I will actually take that radiant barrier and curve it under to the flooring up here behind all the stuff on all sides. And that way I'll be getting some airflow from the edge of the roofing, because this is just a shed, so it's not airtight. And but I'll also be picking up airflow from the first story, where there's an opening along the edge of the rafters where the second story opens up to the first story down there. So that'll get me to where it will be an area with a thermal break, moisture barrier, insulation value, to where I could actually air condition this upstairs area of the shed and make it like a studio or something to that effect. But at least at minimum make it to where it's a comfortable working space in the summer, because in the summer it's just like an attic. It's just freaking blazing hot up here, and you just can't be up here for any extended period of time. So, but I'll film that full video later. I just wanted to get a couple measurements and test out this live version of this phone, of this feature in YouTube, and see how it does. So I'll check out some of the comments I'm getting here. Spencer Burrows says hi. Jackson Nig, maybe with a silent K there, says, have you ever seen Bigfoot? I've only seen what you've seen on the videos, unless you're considering me to be a true Bigfoot. And if that's the case, then yes, I have. Spencer says, I have no idea what you're saying, but I somehow get it. That makes sense to me. Oh, thanks for the subscription, Spencer. That's pretty much it. I appreciate the comments and the viewers that are watching out there, the likes. I'll probably do more of these types of videos, like I said, as I'm filming different things. As long as I'm on my Wi-Fi connection, I should be able to reliably live stream. Oh, and if anybody who's watching it, real quick, if you could just give me like a thumbs up or put a comment for sure that you can. I know you said you couldn't understand me, but somehow I get it. I want to make sure that this wireless mic system is actually working. Like you can actually hear my voice. So if you can, let me know if that's working or not in the comment section. So other than that, I'll get this cleaned out here in the future. You'll see that in the future video. And I'll insulate the side walls. So you can see it right here. That will probably get radiant barrier directly stapled to it. Okay, thanks. I see you can hear me. Awesome, good deal. That one will get radiant barrier stapled directly to the wall, to where there's no air gap, because there really doesn't need to be an air gap there on the walls, since it's not really a ceiling. I'm just looking for insulation value. I won't need as much on the walls. I'll need to hit at least R15, just like a standard wall. But Other than that, that's all I've got for you. Like I said, I just wanted to test out this live feature with my wireless mic, um, and see how it works. So if you have any questions about anything that I'm doing out here on the land and on the house, just drop them in a comment on a video. I'll post it out to you. Um, and just like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it. Thanks. I guess before I get off, I'll see. Does it get? It does get laggy sometimes. Yeah, that might be my Wi-Fi. Just because I'm up here on the second story, and I'm probably a good solid 70 or 80 foot from the main router, even though I've got the booster down here, but I'm a little higher up, so I might be getting a little bit of interference. And it is actually pretty cold today. That could have something to do with it as well. And then, of course, the connection between here to that. This is just a cheap Amazon one I bought. I'll probably end up getting the DJI wireless mic system at some point, but they're a little pricey. Um, and I really probably don't need to be using this wireless mic in here, even though it might be a touch echoey, just because there's not a whole lot of background noise. But if I'm outside, the iPhone just like picks up cars driving by on the highway, on the road, any kind of background noise. If I'm not facing the camera, it's hard to pick up. But yeah, this is actually just my shed, to answer your question on what I'm building. I actually ended up having to have this built because I just got under a time crunch and I need to get it done. So I just paid somebody to do it exactly how I was going to do it. But this upper story is going to probably be just like a studio, maybe where I can have like a computer set up and do things that are more for like air conditioned type environment. And then my workshop is below me, where I've got all my like woodworking tools and things of that nature. Cool, man. I'm gonna step off, everybody, but like I said, if y'all have any questions, just feel free to go through my channel and post a comment there, and we will get with you.